Hello, I'm Mike, and this is We Are the Tabletop Donkeys.
Hello.
And we're looking at issue 42 of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormbringer magazine today. This issue came with Mollog's Mob, another warband for the Forces of Destruction, made up of Mollog the Mighty and his three squig companions. So you can see him in action in today's game. We will be fighting over 3 battle mats for the first time. So looking through the issue first, we have some more background on the various magics of the mortal realms. So the 8 major mortal realms, each has its own type of magic associated with it. So here we have the magic of Azir, or celestial magic, and the magic of Akshi, or bright magic, or fire magic as you might call it. Pause if you want to have a closer look, but we have the other 6 types. There's gold magic of Shaman, the realm of metal, amber magic of Gur, the realm of beasts, jade magic of Giran, the realm of life, amethyst magic of Shaish, the realm of death, light magic of Hish, the realm of light, fittingly, and grey magic, the magic of Ulgu, the realm of shadows. And then we're straight on to our battle record for Mollog the Mighty. So here's a particularly old and dangerous troggoth who seems to have been stirred from whatever cave he was living in before and has joined the war for some reason, which you can roll for on the table. And he's got his 3 best friends with him, the stalag squig, the bat squig, and the spore squig. So again, you can go over what tactics you're going to use and then various great deeds and so far. I particularly like the frog flinger one where he has to deal 3 damage with his jabbertoad. And then the build guide. So this is another Underworlds warband. So these are pushed together models, and the 3 little friends go together fairly well. There's a reasonable number of parts, and it can be a little bit finicky to get the little rocks into the base. And there he is there, so he's fairly chunky though. And the painting guide, starting off with a coat of Battleplan burgundy, basically the primary colour of Mollog himself, and then going over various details, painting mushrooms in a similar way to the other mushrooms we've had so far, painting the jabbertoad green, and then again various details over the various mushrooms in a similar style as we've had before. So painting them Korax white or wraithbone so that they can be washed with Gryph-charger grey or Gryph-hound orange or Nuln oil in some cases as well. So there's a fair amount of detail, but take your time and you'll look pretty good. And then you've got his 3 little friends, which are fairly quick. So just Korax white overcoat for the stalag squig, Battleplan burgundy for his mouth, and then a wash of Nuln oil. And the spite shroom is very similar, and the bat squig is essentially the same as the other squigs we've had up to this point, but flying. And then you can see the completed models up to this point. And now I'll hand you over to Will, where we'll look at Mollog's battle record and hopefully see him in today's game.
So as you might expect, we have the warscroll for Mollog's Mob. This is actually presented as Mollog himself, and then his 3 companions are just companion. They're not a separate unit like some of the other Underworlds warbands that we've had. So Mollog himself has 8 wounds, a 6-inch move, a 4+ save, and bravery 7. He has a missile weapon, which is his jabbertoad. He can throw. It has a 12-inch range with 1 attack that hits on a 4, wounds on a 4, has no rend, that does D3 damage. And his puff fungus club has a 2-inch range with 3 attacks. They hit on 3s, wound on 2s with -2 rend and 3 damage. So he has his 3 companions, as I said. But before you allocate a wound to him, or roll a ward roll for a wound or mortal wound that would be allocated to him, you can instead remove a companion and then effectively negate the wound. But if you do that, then the rule provided by that particular companion is lost for the rest of the game. He regenerates, so at the start of the hero phase, he can heal up to D3 wounds. So these are troggoth. And then the companions, the spite shroom, means that at the start of the combat phase, you can pick an enemy unit within 3 inches of the unit and roll a D6 on a 5+. That unit has -1 to hit for all its attacks for that phase. The bat squig is effectively a shooting attack. At the start of the shooting phase, you can pick an enemy unit within 18 and roll a dice on a 2+. That unit suffers mortal wound. And finally, with the stalag squig, if you just choose to remove the stalag squig to negate a wound, then you can roll a dice, and on a 5+, stalag squig is not in fact removed, and it just sort of absorbs the damage. And it does specify this isn't a ward roll, just in case that would be relevant for some particular rule or other. And then the keyword says the usual you might expect. He's part of the Gloomspite Gits faction, and he is a hero. And on the next page we have the usual tutorial, so it just explains how a few of the companions work, so removing wounds, how the spite shroom works, and the bat squig's ability. And then some more unit tactics and strengths and weaknesses. So we have the Beast Skewer Killbow, which, as it says, has scaling damage, so it can potentially do more damage to something the higher its wounds characteristic is. And it's also quite accurate. It remains stationary, it'll hit on a 2+ with the aim shot, but it is weak in melee, so it's best to keep it away from the front lines and protected by stuff. And as it says, it's quite good at hunting monsters or other things with many wounds because of that scaling damage. And then the man-skewered bolt boys, they have quite a high damage output, especially with the venom-encrusted weapons. They're quite flexible because they can move and shoot with a lot of attacks, which still do mortal wounds on 60 to hit, so that's still quite handy. But again, like the killbow, they are quite fragile, best not left in the front line, and can be destroyed by shooting quite easily as well. But as it says here, they're quite good at hero hunting because with a decent roll to hit, they can actually do quite a lot of damage to a hero. And now on to our game. So following the format of our new battle pack, we've got the Realm Scout intro here with some artwork and a little short story about how some hobgrots have found essentially some magic rocks in the realm of metal which seem to make them stronger. That'll be explained a little bit more in a moment. But first we have the forces. So for the Alliance of Order, they have to take the Knight Arcanum, the Spirit of Durthu, 2 units of 5 Vindictors and 6 Gryph-hounds, and then have 2 options. They can either select Garda Steel Soul or the Lord Aquilor, plus the Knight Judicator or the Stormstrike Chariot. And for destruction we have Mollog, obviously, the Loon Boss, 2 units of 10 Hobgrot Slitters, and the Marshcrawler Sloggoth, and their options are either the Gut Rippers or the Shooters, plus either the Bolt Boys or the Killbow, the best skewer Killbow as it says here. And here is the battle plan itself, so the armies as we've just been over. The battlefield is on 3 battle mats. First time we've had this, so laid out long edge to long edge. We have a really long battlefield essentially, with territories up to a quarter of the way along the long edges of the complete battle map, and objectives in the centre of each one, so 1 in the middle and 2 towards the edges. Like in the previous game, the Destruction player sets up their entire army first, followed by the Order player, but then the Order player gets to pick who takes the first turn in the first battle round. It will last for 5 battle rounds, and victory points are 1 victory point for holding at least 1 objective, 1 for 2 or more, and 1 if you have more than your opponent, so maximum of 3 per turn. And those magic rocks form our special rule, called Empowering Geodes, which gives Vindictors and Hobgrot Slitter units extra +1 damage on all of their attacks. Makes them quite dangerous, really. And once again over the page we have some playthrough highlights from when Ian and Eve decided to play, so I won't go over this specifically, but just provides a couple of examples of things about what happened in the game and some tactical notes as well. So we'll get the battlefield set up and everything deployed and then get straight into our game. So here is our huge battlefield with 3 battle mats, including the debut of the other side of the new one, which unfortunately is a slightly different colour to the previous one, so you just have to ignore that, pretend that's not the case. And you can see that we've actually deployed most of our armies towards the left-hand side of the board, as you see it. We've got objectives 1, 2 and 3 across the middle, and some terrain which has some various rules that we did roll for, but we'll only mention if it actually comes up. I think the important one is there's an arcane, squiggly, tentacly thing down by the Knight Arcanum. That might actually come into effect, but the rest of it probably won't. So looking at the order deployment first, out on the far flank, because I got to deploy after the entire Destruction army, I was able to deploy based on what they did, and since they're all on the other side of the board, I just put the Gryph-hounds over near Objective 3, so we'll take that and then move on, hopefully. And then on the other side, we've got the Chariot on the left, the Knight Arcanum standing behind aforementioned Arcane Tentacle Pit, 2 units of Vindictors in the middle with the Lord Aquilor, and then the Spirit of Durthu on the right of this little formation. The Lord Aquilor is the general. He's going to have the Skilled Leader command trait, so he generates an extra command point in My Hero phase on a 5+. He's also going to have the Amulet of Destiny artifact for a 6+ ward. The Knight Arcanum will have the Flaming Weapon extra spell, and my triumph for this game will be Inspired. And on the other side we have the Forces of Destruction.
Yeah, so I've deployed my army all together because I think realistically I'm only going to be able to contest 2 objectives because it's all very slow. So on the left I've got a unit of Hobgrots, then the Sloggoth, then the Gut Rippers with the Bolt Boys behind. The Loon Boss, he'll be my general, he'll have Skilled Leader as well. I'll also have the Vial of Manticore Venom, and my triumph is going to be Indomitable, the free Powers of Matrock test, and I have no wizards so I don't need to give any extra spells out. And then the other unit of Hobgrots, and finally Mollog is out on my left flank, or the far right as you see him.
And it specifies that the Order player gets to choose who takes the first turn, and I think it makes sense for me to go first, because if I don't, then there'll just be lots of destruction models on the objective, which I'll then have to remove again, so I think we're going to do that. So we'll go into Order, turn 1. So I have the usual 2 command points, Destruction have 3. The Lord Aquilor generated a command point for himself with Heroic Leadership, but failed to get one from Guild Leader.
Yeah, and the Loon Boss is doing Heroic Willpower.
And then the Knight Arcanum is going to try and cast Blaze of the Heavens, which is normally 7, but she's standing next to an arcane piece of terrain, so this will need a 6 on the dice. No, a 4 is a failure. And then for movement, you can see the bulk of the army here. The Chariot's gone out to the far left flank to take Objective 1. The Vindictors over here ran to get near that as well, followed by the Knight Arcanum. The Lord Aquilor is in the middle behind the Dragon Skull. The other Vindictors moved up normally, as did the Spirit of Durthu, so it can shoot. Then I spent a command point for at the double on the Gryph-hounds, just to get them really far forward, but they're still going to take Objective 3 at the end of the turn. So we're on to shooting. I'll start with the Spirit of Death, who's going to use its Verdant Blast on the Gut Rippers. The Destruction Forces did take a Noisy Racket as their dirty trick, just forgot to mention it before. So these will be -1 to wound. So they've got 6 attacks that will be hitting on 4s. Hitting 5, okay, good start.
We use all our defence for the Gut Rippers as well, I forgot to mention that in the previous clip.
Then we'll be wounding on 4s because of the Noisy Racket. 4. That's -1.
So -1 goes away, so 5s. Well, I made 2.
So it only kills 2. And the Lord of Quillor is going to shoot at the Hobgrots over on the left flank of the Destruction Forces as you look at it. He has 4 shots on 3s, only 2 hits, and winning on 4s because of Noisy Racket. 1 at -1.
Yep.
So it kills 1, and then the Chariot's bow is going to shoot them as well, just for ease, and it misses. So I'm not going to declare any charges, but there will be a couple of battle shock tests to be taken.
Yeah, so I think I'll auto-pass the Gut Rippers with a command point, and then I'll roll for the Hobgrots. I think they're bravery 4, so 1 to 3 is fine. They're fine.
And then at the end of the turn, I take control of all 3 objectives and gain 3 victory points. And then we'll be on to Destruction turn 1.
So my army's moved up fairly aggressively. The 2 Hobgrot units have run to get themselves on the objectives, and I will end up taking Objective 2. Objective 1 is contested still at the moment. Stormbringer have moved up normally in the middle. Gut Rippers and the Loon Boss ran to support that other Hobgrot unit. The Bolt Boys are staying at the back, and then the Mollog move up normally as well, so he can do some shooting with his Jabber Toad. Yeah, the Loon Boss generated a command point with heroic leadership, so did the Lord of Quillor. But I spent that so that when the Hobgrots moved up, I redeployed the Vindictors. They rolled a 5, so they all are on Objective 1, which doesn't mean it's now contested, whereas previously the Hobgrots would have been in position to take it. I'm actually going to start the shooting phase with this unit of Hobgrots here, and they're going to throw their grenades at those Vindictors to try and lower Stormcast numbers, and I'll spend my free command point for heroic leadership to give them all out attack.
But I'll spend a command point for all-out defence.
So 9 grenades hitting on 3s thanks to all-out attack. All-out attack made no difference. We got 7 hits. 7 hits will be on 3s. Ooh, only 3.
And then we have 3 plus saves because of all-out defence. We fail 1, but 2 damage because of the scenario special rule, so that will kill a Vindictor.
Hobgrots at the other side will throw grenades at the Spirit of Dirthu because there isn't anything else in range really, and one guy at the back isn't in range of anything, so he's just going to have to hold on to his for now. So 9 shots hitting on 4s, 5 hits, wounding on 3s. That's better. 5 wounds at -1.
So 4s. Oh, we fail 4, so that's actually 8 damage because of the special rule from the scenario. So Spirit of Dirthu is down to 6.
We'll shoot the Bolt Boys at the Spirit of Dirthu as well, because he's quite heavily wounded now. So 4 shots on 2s, because we haven't moved, but 6s do mortal wounds at the very least, so at least 1 got, well, there's 2 mortal wounds there. And this wounds on a 3, it does, also at -1.
4 plus? No, so 4 damage in total with mortal wounds, down to 2.
Mollog's back squig will go on the Spirit of Dirthu as well. Should technically do this at the start of the shooting phase, but I probably would have done it at Dirthu anyway, because it's basically the only target. On a 2 plus, so Dirthu takes a mortal wound, and then he does the Jabber Toad, which misses. So Spirit of Dirthu is actually quite badly weakened, so I think we're going to charge with Mollog, try and finish it off. A 5 isn't enough. You know what? I'm actually going to re-roll it. Very risky though. Mollog might take a lot of damage. An 8 isn't. Don't think it's going to be enough. I think we need a bit of 9. Actually, I think we'll try and charge with the Troggoth as well. It gets an 8. I'll get it somewhere. So the Troggoth's actually going to go into the Lord of Quillor.
So just the Troggoth to attack. I'll use all-out defence on the Lord of Quillor.
So 4 attacks from the crew on 3s. They all hit. Wounding on 4s. 1 wound, no rend.
2 plus, yes.
And the Troggoth's claws on 2s, getting 3. And 3s, getting 2.
With -1?
Yeah.
With 3s. Failed 1, so he takes 2 damage, but he has the 6 plus ward from the Amulet of Destiny, which doesn't help, so he's down to 6. Fighting back, his sword and axe combined because they're the same on 3s. No.
And, I'll use my command point for all that defence as well.
No, yeah, fair enough.
As it go away.
Only 2 hits, and he's winning on 4s because it's still about around 1. 2 anyway.
-1 rend goes away, so 4 plus saves. Failed both, so he takes 4 damage, it's down to 8.
Yeah, and the Griff Charger hits twice and wounds twice.
So 5 plus saves against the Griff Chargers. Failed those as well, it's actually down to 6. That didn't go too well.
So that's it, no battle shock test necessary, but the Destruction Forces take objectives 1 and 2, having more models on both of them, and gain 3 victory points, because this 3rd victory point is for having more than the opponent. With that, we're rolling off for battle round 2 to see who gets priority. 5 for me.
Ooh.
And so, and a 6 for the Forces of Destruction.
And I will choose to go first.
So on to Destruction, turn 2. So in the command phase, the Spirit of Dirthu succeeded heroic recovery and recovered 1 wound, so it's over twice as many as it had previously. The Sloggoth also recovered 2 wounds.
Yeah, and I'm going to say it's Mollog's finest hour, and that's... yeah, and I didn't get a command point from a skill leader on my Loon Boss thing. So only movement is going to be the Gut Rippers, who are moving up into... Well, still staying up 3 away from the Lord of Quillor, Loon Boss coming around behind them, and Mollog moving into the centre. The shooting phase, Mollog's Bat Squig is going to go into Spirit of Dirthu. Oh, it doesn't work. And the Jabbertoad will shoot at Dirthu as well, I suppose.
I think I had to do all that defence on the Spirit of Dirthu, incidentally.
Jabbertoad missed.
Yeah, so it's not going to matter for that, but it will for anything else to try to shoot at it.
Yeah. Bolt Boys will shoot at Dirthu. 4 shots on 2s.
No, there's a
2 mortal wounds. So
yeah,
kill him.
It dies.
Spirit of Dirthu gone. That unit of Hobgrots on that side is now not in a terribly good position. There's only 7 in range of the unit of Vindictors on that flank, so they'll shoot at them on 4s, getting 2, and 3s, getting 1, -1.
4+ save. Failed. We'll kill 1 because of the extra damage.
And there is 1 in range of the Lord of Quillor, who hits, and doesn't wound. And the other unit of Hobgrots I use all-out attack on, and they'll throw their grenades at the same unit as Vindictors as they did last time. 9 shots on 3s, getting 7 again, and 3s to wound, 4 at -1.
So 4+ saves, don't fail 2, that's 2 more dead.
So in the charge phase, we'll start with Mollog. Gets a 10, that is going to be enough to get into those Vindictors. And I'll roll for the Gut Rippers as well, they're also going to charge, and we'll see what happens after they get in the box. An 8, that will be enough. So Mollog is going into the Vindictors along with the Gut Rippers, and that leaves space for the Loon Boss to have a go and try and get into the Lord of Quillor. He gets an 8, that might be enough. And forgot to do it at the start of this charge phase, but the Scare Shields will be going on the Vindictors. And get +1 to the roll, or 12. They are spooked. At the start of the combat phase, Mollog's Spite Shoom might activate, and it will have an effect on the Vindictors if they decide to attack Mollog, so on a 5+. No. But I will do Mollog first, so he has 3 attacks on 2s because he's near the Sloggoth.
And I am using all that defence, so yeah, by the way.
Yeah, so they all hit. Only on 2s because he does that anyway. Well, 2 wounds at -2.
So with all that defence, that means 4+ saves. Oh, it made both.
Oh.
So my pick, I'll do that same unit of Vindictors attacking back. They're going to be attacking the Gut Rippers. But interestingly, their Storm Soul Arsenal doesn't do mortal wounds equal to the damage. It only just does 1 mortal wound in the attack sequence end. So a 6 to wound is actually, a 6 to hit is actually possibly not so good, given that they have +1 damage from the scenario. But anyway, we have 9 attacks hitting on 4s because of the Scare Shield. But we got 2 mortal wounds from 6s and no 3s, so the Scare Shield's made no difference. And the 4 normal hits will wound on 3s. We get 3.
So this is going to be 3 5+ saves because I'm using all-out defence. I made 2, so only those 2 Gut Rippers. I think I'll do the Gut Rippers next because the Lord of Quillor might decide to attack them. So 6+ the boss is 13 attacks hitting on 3s because of the Sloggoth. 6s are mortal wounds instead, so there's some mortal wounds there. 6 normal hits wounding on 4s, getting 3 more.
These are on 2s though, because all that defence is still up. Oh, yes, that helped. So no normal damage, but 2 mortal wounds will kill another. I'm going to do the Lord of Quillor next. I'm going to use a command point for all that attack. I'm also going to use my Triumph Fired. It's giving +1 to wound all its attacks. So we shall be doing the normal weapons first. Oh, everything's going on the Sloggoth. Hitting on 2s because of the normal attack, so that helped. And also wounding on 2s. 5 wounds at -1.
So 5+ saves. Need to make some of them. I made 2, so that's 6 damage. It's still there at the moment.
Can the Griff Charger finish the job? Well, it missed once, and then it will be wounding on 2s. It did wound twice.
You need to make both. 6+.
No, you need to make 1. So
I need to make 1 here. Sorry, 6 pluses. No, Sloggoth goes down.
Yeah, it does 8 damage.
I've just got the Loon Boss left, so on the Lord of Quillor, 5 attacks on 3s, 3, and 2s because of Manticore Venom. They all wound at -1.
So 4s to save. Failed 1, so that's 2 damage. 6+ Ward from the Amulet of Destiny. All helps, only take 1 damage. That's it for fighting. On to the Battletop phase. Both of my Vindictors units only lost 2 this turn, and they've both got their banners still, so they're on Bravery 8, so they're alright. The Gut Rippers lost 2.
No, I used Indomitable to keep them around.
But the Destruction Forces gain another 3 victory points because they still hold objectives 1 and 2 as we head into Order Turn 2. Now, it is both the Lord Aquilor and the Loon Boss's finest hours, and Lord Aquilor failed to generate another command point. And then I will try and cast Blaze of the Heavens with the Night Arcanum, needing a 7 now because she moved away from the arcane terrain. Or getting a 6. That's quite annoying because I moved away from the terrain. In the main fight, the Vindictors that were in that melee have retreated. Lord Aquilor will stay in combat, the Night Arcanum moving over, and the 2 Vindictors on Objective 1 are going to stay on it. Chariot have moved round to the back of the Hobgrots over here, so we're going to have to clear them off. And the other flank, the Griffhounds move normally, they're going to need to try and make a charge, I think. In the shooting phase, the Lord Aquilor is going to shoot into the Gut Rippers. These will be hitting on 3s, 3, and winning on 2s because it's his finest hour, so getting 3.
6 plus saves? Nope, 1 dead and 1 wounded.
The Chariot, meanwhile, is going to shoot at the Bolt Boys because it might be able to pick one off. Only hit once and wounded.
Yeah, it does wound.
And then we move to charges where the Chariot is going to charge first. It rolls a 3, which is the minimum needed. So it does mortal wounds on 4s, but only 3 dice. It does 1. Squashes a Hogrot as it goes in. The 2 Vindictors there are going to go in as well. They roll a 5, so we're not doing well on the charge rolls today, but that's enough as well. So these units get in like that. And then the Griffhounds need to make a long charge into these Hoggrots. They need an 8. They get a 6. I'll spend my command point for forward to victory, getting a 6 again. So no, they do not go anywhere. And the Night Arcanum is going to go in as well. Oh, a 12 for her. Well, that's... oh well. So on to the fight phase, we're going to start with the Lord Aquilor. He's going to put all his attacks on the Gut Rippers. So the Sword and Axe only hit once. But he wins on the 2 though, because it's his finest hour. Well, yeah, just about.
6 plus save? No. Who's a Gut Ripper?
Curious 1, and the Griff Charger. Oh, that can hit. And it can wound. 3 at -2.
Yeah.
So it's just 3 damage.
So is that 5?
5 damage total, so it actually kills 2.5.
I'm going to do the Hobgrots near Objective 1 next. I think 6 of them only can attack the Vindictors. The other 2 will have to go for the Chariot.
Yeah, but they do 2 damage for their melee attacks, because the rule applies to all their attacks, so they could theoretically do quite a lot of damage.
So 13 attacks on the Vindictors, hitting on 3s, because of all that attack, 6s are an extra hit. Oh, there are a fair few 3s in there at least. 1, 6, put that dice back. Be 10 hits. Wounding on 5s. Oh, no.
Well, that one, yeah, we'll reroll that on his copter.
Oh.
No, nothing.
And on the Chariot, oh, that's 5 out of 4 hits. And 3 wounds.
3 plus saves for the Chariot. Oh, I made them.
Oh.
I'll do the Night Arcanum. I'm going to try and finish off the 2 remaining Gut Rippers. 3 attacks on 3s. 2 hits, but only wounds on 4s. Just 1.
Made the save.
Ah.
Now we'll do the Loon Boss on the Lord Aquilor. 5 attacks on 3s, getting 4. And 2s, because it's the Loon Boss's finest hour. 3 wounds at -1.
It's his finest hour though, so he's saving on 3s, which he failed 1 off. Loon Boss actually does D3 damage, not 2, so I think we got that wrong in the previous turn, but...
So D3 damage, 2.
So 2 damage going through, and the ward fails, so down to 3. Yeah, I'll do the Chariot next. I'll do all 9 of its attacks at the same time, because the rend difference doesn't matter against Hobgrots. They were also technically -1 to hit it in the previous attack, but they didn't do any damage to it anyway, so forgot that, but it didn't matter. So hitting on 3s, we've got 7, and wounding on 3s, we've got 5, so that's, well, 5 dead Hobgrots.
My last pick is the 2 remaining Gut Rippers, and they're going to attack the Lord Aquilor as well. 5 attacks on 4s, 2 hits and no mortal wounds. 4s, 2 wounds though.
No rend so a 2 plus save. Oh, he still fails 1, and he ignores it on a 6. No, down to 2. Lastly, I've just got the 2 Vindictors on Objective 1. 5 attacks hitting on 3s. 6s do 1 mortal wound. Oh, well, they do 2 mortal wounds, so there's 2 dead already, and then the other 2 just need a single 3 to kill the remaining one, with just about, yes. That's all the fighting. The Gut Rippers are going to take a battle shock test. They've lost 3.
Yeah, bravery 5, so they're good.
That'll be the end of the turn and the battle round, and I do now hold 2 objectives because of the holding objective 3, so I will gain the 3 victory points, and it's 6 apiece. But then we'll be rolling off for battle round 3. Oh, I rolled a 6.
I did not.
So I do get priority, and I think I will definitely go first, so we'll be on to order turn 3. So it didn't generate a command point from Skilled Leader. It's going to be the Night Arcanum's finest hour.
And I'm doing Heroic Willpower with the Loon Boss.
Then we'll try and cast Arcane Bolt, I think, because we're in melee. We get it with a 5, that's the bare minimum.
Try and unbind. Needing a 6? No.
Because it does go off. So we'll do D3 mortal wounds to the Loon boss, I think, because he's a bit harder to injure. 2.
And he's got a 6+ sword. And he's down to 3.
Also at the start of the hero phase, I'll try and rally the unit of 2 Vindictors on objective 1. We don't get any. You can see all my movement in this shot. The Griffhounds have raced off to try and attack the Bolt Boys. If I send them into the Hobgrots, there's a decent chance I get blown up grenades, so the Chariot has to go and do that job instead. Chariot did actually finish within range of a deadly terrain piece when it made its charge last turn, or in its movement, I think, but it didn't take any mortal wounds, did roll for it. The Lord Aquila has fallen back from melee. The Knight Cannon will stay in melee and try and hold up things there, or maybe do a bit of damage. And the 2 Vindictor units have basically formed a couple of lines of defence around objective 1, because I think holding that is going to be the way for me to win this game at this point. So we'll do a bit of shooting. The Chariot's going to shoot the Bolt Boys, see if we can finish off with that wounded one. Hits on 3s. Missed twice. So on to the charge phase. The Chariot's going to go first. And it rolls a 3 again. I don't actually know if that's enough. That is enough to contact the Hobgrots, but it's again only 3 potential damage, or it does actually do 3 damage with its mortal wounds.
Right.
And then the Griffhounds are going to charge, aiming for the Bolt Boys. They roll also a 3.
Yeah.
So we'll have to spend our command point on that. We get a 6. That should be enough to get to the Bolt Boys, just.
I'm going to unleash her with the Bolt Boys, so I'm pretty sure they have to use their rapid fire one because of range, but 7 shots hitting on 5s now, 6s do mortal wounds instead. So that is 1 hit plus 2 mortal wounds, so 4 damage. And that's on a 3. That is 6 damage in total.
That will actually kill 3 Griffhounds on the way in. I'll do the Griffhounds first because 6 attacks back with no save on them could actually make the unit pretty much useless. So we'll be attacking the Bolt Boys.
And I'm using all that defence.
13 attacks on 3s. Well, 11 hits. 4s to wound though. Oh, that's not bad.
That's a good roll.
Yeah, that's 8 wounds.
8, 5+ saves, thanks to all that defence. We made 4!
Oh.
The boss is alive on 1 wound.
And then they'll use darting attacks to get back out of range.
Well, I'm going to pick those Hobgrots to go before they get smushed. And we'll use all that attack on them as well. 15 attacks on 3s, 6s are an extra hit.
Yeah, these are on 4s actually.
Sorry, on 4s because of the whatever the light of Azir or whatever the rule is.
Yeah, the Chariot made a charge move, so it's minus 1 to hit. Still a few hits though.
9 hits plus 3 6s is 12. 5s. 5 wounds.
5, 3+ saves for the Chariot. Made them all. The United Cannon's not actually going to pile in, so she's going to whack the Loon Boss with her stick 3 times on 3s. 2 hits. 3s to wound because it's her finest hour. Still didn't help for that 2, so only 1.
5+. Failed.
D3 damage. 1.
Which isn't ignored. Down to 2. Also going to go up another cannon. 5 attacks on 3s. They all hit. And 2s. They all wound. Nice one.
She's a 3+ save because of finest hour. She fails 2 of though.
2d3 damage. For 3.
I've just got the Chariot left. 9 attacks on the Hobgrots, all the same because the rend doesn't matter. Getting 6. And 3s to kill. Oh, kill 6. They might kill her.
And I've got 2 Gut Rippers left. 5 attacks on 4, 6 of the mortal wounds. 3 hits, no mortal wounds. And 4s, 1.
2+ save, finest hour? Yes. And then in the Battle Shock phase, the last remaining Hobgrot will automatically run away because it's lost 9 friends. The Griffhounds have lost 3 though. They need to make a test. Oh, they also run away because 6 plus 3 is 9 and they're bravery 6.
So does the Bolt Boy boss actually. And he stays.
But that will be the end of order turn 3. I still hold objectives 1 and 3, gaining me another 3 victory points up to 9. And we'll be into destruction turn 3.
I think I'm going to call it there. I don't think I'll be able to take objective 3. I think it's too far away. I'd have to sprint across the battlefield to get it, and I'll probably lose objective 2. I could charge Mollog into the Chariot and maybe shoot the Lord Aquila, but I don't think I'll ever take objective 1. So I think we'll call it a Stormcast victory.
Yeah, it's going to be extra. I'm just going to be gaining 3 victory points every turn from this point, pretty much, because I should be able to hold 2 objectives at the end of my turn with an undamaged Chariot as well. Yeah, so that will be an order victory, and we'll recap the game for you now. Well, that was the game for issue 42 of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormbringer magazine. How did you think that went?
Honestly, it was going much better than I thought it would. If I hadn't gotten a double turn, or if I hadn't done that much damage to the Spirit of Earth in turn 1, it probably would have just steamrolled over my army. But realistically, I think I was only ever going to contest 2 objectives. I don't think splitting up the army would have been that effective. I mean, maybe I could have sent Mollog off on his own to go towards Objective 3 and fight the Griffhounds, because he is reasonably good at surviving on his own, and he doesn't really support the units around him, but I kind of also wanted him in the middle to help fight things.
Yeah, I mean, in the Spirit of Durthu, you killed a 300-point model that I think it killed 2 Gut Rippers in the entire game. And of course, by going first and moving up, I was putting myself at risk of the double turn, and maybe I should have even used the redeploy to redeploy the Spirit of Durthu out of grenade range. In hindsight, that was what did it into him, because the extra damage grenades were really quite effective. But
yeah, and I think those double damage grenades really is what kept me in the game at all. I think if that rule wasn't there, I probably would have played much more passively. Yeah, I think that was it. It definitely benefited me a lot more than it did you.
Yeah, the Vindictors actually didn't do much fighting, so it didn't help them all that much. If, say, you'd gone first and moved up, then I would have just charged the Spirit of Durthu into something and it would have flattened whatever it touched, I imagine, because you wouldn't have been able to get grenades in range of it. The Bolt Boys did well, but it wouldn't have put it down to its lowest wound bracket, in which it's really not very good at all. So even if you hadn't killed it in that shooting phase in your second turn, it still wouldn't have done very much, I don't think.
Yeah, and I don't know if charging the Slogger thing was a good idea. I did lose it very early, but on the other hand, it did stop the Lord of Quillor going off and attacking the Bolt Boys or something, because he's very fast.
It was interesting to be fighting over 3 battle maps, but in practice, the battle basically took place on 2.
I'm not sure what to make of Mollog. Probably is quite a good idea to have him go off on his own, because he's pretty durable, and he effectively has 11 wounds if all of his friends die first, and he regenerates in the hero phase, so it means it happens at the start of every turn, even your opponent's. So he's going to survive for a while, and a 4+ save isn't bad, and he's reasonably fast, I suppose, with 6-inch move compared to the rest of my units.
And he's scary enough in melee that I don't want to charge him with something that I'm not fairly sure is going to do a decent job of it. The improved Vindictors in this game with their 2 damage would actually be a decent option to attack him, because with a good save and all that defence, they could potentially resist the return attacks of the Spirit of Durthu, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean,
full wounds,
he's not. Mollog probably can't fight the Spirit of Durthu on his own, but there's potential for a lot of damage.
I know, although he has 8 wounds, he effectively has 11 with a chance of one of those having a 5+ ward effectively. So yeah, he can actually tank a fair bit of damage for a single character.
Yeah, and he can technically maybe pick off a wounded hero or a wounded model with the Bat Squig, but his range attack isn't much, the Jabbertow is not much to write him about. I don't think he even hit once in this game, so
no.
Yeah, I mean, I think, unfortunately, he's going to be I get the feeling he's going to have times where he's going to be very disappointing, where he'll get 3 attacks and then 2 hits and then 1 wound, even though in theory, he should hit and wound fairly often.
It's the same as everything that has 3 attacks, is that sometimes it can actually be a bit swingy. Wounding on 2s is helpful, but it's another Underworld warband, so he has slightly wacky rules that are not necessarily amazing, but nevertheless is characterful and interesting, I suppose.
And he is quite nice to have a fairly beefy hero, because most of my heroes are sort of 6 wounds. And he's got a fairly long range with his club as well, so he could actually stand behind a rank of Gut Rippers or something, I think. Yeah, and the Spike Shroom could come in handy, but I think I've already got things like Scare Shields and Nets, which are probably going to activate more often.
From the point of view of the collection, it is yet another Underworlds warband. We've got quite a lot of those now, which are going to be some more to come, so a good way to bulk up the collection.
Yeah, and I think they are actually out of print at this moment, although they are getting some new cards re-released, so maybe they'll re-release the models as well.
Yes, they're getting a new Rivals deck for Warhammer Underworlds, so you can, if you have them from this magazine, get that deck, and then they're usable in Warhammer Underworlds, where previously you'd have to find the cards second-hand at probably inflated prices, so that's quite handy. And it's actually a great collection of models as well. I think it's really leaning into the slightly more humorous aspect of the Greenskins and Forces of Destruction. The 3 companions are all amusing in their own way, and then a big troll who really just wants to be left alone.
Yeah, and actually in his battle record, he's actually doing the Pokemon I choose you pose. He's literally pointing and going, Bat Squig, I choose you. So that's pretty great.
Yeah. And having the toad in his hand and the big mushrooms on his back, it's just a slightly comedic model, but still very Warhammer.
Yeah, and you can probably be fairly creative with him as well, because you can just go for all different wacky colours with the mushrooms to contrast him and his friends.
Yep, so anyway, I think that's it for this episode and the game. So let us know what you thought in the comments below. Leave a like and subscribe if you did enjoy the video. We've been the Tabletop Donkeys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye for now.